So it's 4:30 in the morning. It's like minus 11 degrees outside. The sun hasn't even come up yet, but there is a lot of action happening right now. So getting ready for Food and Drink Fest is no small task by any means, because you're talking thousands of people that are going to be there over the course of the weekend. And right now we're going to go in and take a look at some production from one of the founders of the Kitchen Collective and the main guy behind Donut Monster. Let's go in and meet Reuben. So we are in the Kitchen Collective. Reuben, I am so glad to be here right now. The smell in this place is fantastic, and I know myself what it's like to get ready for Food and Drink Fest. So why don't you tell me what it is that you're going to do to bring to this incredible show?
So at Donut Monster, we make yeast-risen donuts. So we're using a yeast-risen dough recipe that's of my own design, and we're going to be making a ton of different donuts for food and drink, and
Awesome.
A bunch of different flavors. At Donut Monster, normally we only do 6 flavors a week. So that's sort of what people know. But for food and drink, we're making probably 12 to 15 flavors.
You're bringing a lot to this show then.
There's going to be a lot of choice, a lot of change, and people are really going to get to be able to see what we can do in that type of quantity. So,
well, you guys have very quickly built a reputation in Hamilton for some of the best donuts sort of around at all. And I mean, when you say you only make 6 flavors a week, are they the same flavors?
So we rotate flavors every week. So we try to keep something on the menu for 2 to 3 to 4 weeks at a time, and then we bring in something new. So new flavor combination that maybe we've never done before, that we're just playing around with, and we try to just keep it fun like that and do something that people have never seen before.
Now, these are handmade donuts, if you haven't figured this out. And look at the pro here. You're not messing around with these things.
Oh, no. So we got to move quick, get these donuts made. It might be early in the morning, but people want their donuts with their morning coffee.
So you said that you make this is your recipe, this particular dough. Now, are all of your donuts and fritters made from this same base?
Yeah, so we have, this is our yeast-risen base, and so all of our donuts are made with the same dough, and then we'll glaze them differently, and that's sort of what makes each donut its own thing.
That's incredible. Now you can see, like, this is really risen up. How long do you let this, like, what's the process that you do with this particular dough?
Right, so the dough gets mixed, and it'll go through a fermentation process for about an hour and a half.
Right.
And then we'll punch the dough down and let it rest for another 10 minutes or so, and then it's time to roll it out. And roll it out, cut it up like we're doing here, and then it will go through another fermentation rising process for about another hour before it goes into the fryer.
So there's some love and time that has to go into making donuts. It's not as simple as just rolling dough and frying some donuts.
That's right. I mean, time is what this type of donut needs. Time. The yeast needs time to develop that flavor. And
fantastic.
I mean, the recipe for our donuts even uses a longer fermentation process. So we use some of our dough from previous days. It continues to ferment in the cooler overnight, and we remix it into our dough for an additional flavor punch.
So that's like similar to like a sourdough base, where it's constantly building flavor, and with that extra time that you put in there, I guess that's what's making your donuts so unique.
That's right. So yeah, it's sort of like there's a sourdough component to it.
Super cool. Yeah. So where do you go from here?
So these will go into the proofer for about an hour, and then it's time to cut some more. So after about an hour in the proofer, we drop that screen into the fryer. Right. And the donuts fry for about 45 seconds on either side. And after they cool down, yeah, I mean, the oil is hot, bakes those donuts, fries those donuts up really fast. We let them cool down a little bit. What we're doing here is a cheesecake brownie donut. So we've got
a cheesecake brownie donut. This is the way everyone needs to start their day. Thank you for this.
That's right. So we've got a cheesecake glaze with real cream cheese.
This is one of your flavors that you're doing today. Now, I'm a veteran at Food and Drink Fest. It's an incredible show. Now, this year it's actually going to be at First Ontario Centre, so it's grown. So it's even bigger than it was last year and the year before and so on. How do you know how many donuts that you need to bring, because for me, I do a lot of my prep and stuff behind the scenes and then finish it on location. But you have to try to get all of this stuff sorted, all finished. How do you know how many donuts to bring?
I mean, the short answer there is a lot. I mean,
he's not wrong.
People love donuts, and sometimes it's hard to keep up. So we don't want to run out. But again, donuts are best to eat the day that you make them. So if we're left with donuts at the end of the show, we're not bringing them the next day. We're making more fresh ones the next day.
Okay, so no matter what, you're still making these fresh day of to bring them to this show.
Absolutely, that's one of the most important parts. And then we'll put these brownie bits on top. We'll put 3 on each donut.
Okay.
We make everything from scratch, like all the garnishes that we use, all the dough that we use, all the glazes that we use, we make in-house.
Amazing.
And that way we can control the quality and make sure that everything tastes as best as it possibly can. So once we get these brownies on, then we'll finish these with a fudge drizzle. We started this one, I think, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago for the first time. So, I mean, when we come up with a new flavor, you know, we'll toss around some ideas, like what are some flavor combinations that we really like or have seen in other places, you know, in other desserts or in other dishes. You know, can we convert that into a donut? What might that look like? And then we'll decide that that's the way that we want to go.
That's amazing.
And we don't really do product testing per se. I mean, we come up with a flavor that we like. We'll make the glaze and garnish, and then the first day that we ship it out, that's the first day that we've actually made it.
That's super cool.
So I mean, it's just a lot of fun. There's a lot of creativity.
Always playing.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that you keep saying we, because you have an awesome team back here that has been producing a large number of donuts all morning.
Well, I couldn't do it without everybody that works here, so that's for sure.
That's incredible. Now, can I try one of these?
Absolutely. You take the one that looks good to you.
I don't want to reach any further than I have to, so I'm going to take the one that's right in front of me, because this one seems to have just a few little brownie pieces on it, and I'm going to get right into this.
One per bite.
One. That's unreal.
No, that's as fresh as you can get. Fried 10 minutes ago.
That is probably the most tender, flavorful donut experience I have ever had in my life. This is unbelievable. So we're here in the Kitchen Collective right now in preparation. I can't wait to see, Reuben, what you're going to be bringing to Food and Drink Fest. If this is just one of the flavors with all the many that you're potentially going to bring, I'm super excited, and I can't wait to catch up with you then.
Excellent.
My name is Chef Dan. This is Hamilton Eats. Okay, so when preparing for Food and Drink Fest in Hamilton, the chefs and the restaurants and the vendors have to be diligent about making sure that they bring their A game. Now today we're gonna go in and we're gonna learn about some authentic Peruvian cuisine and how that's done by a guy named Chef Juan right here at Culantro. Behind the scenes here with Chef Juan, getting ready for Food and Drink Fest. Brother, I am very excited to be here.
Happy to have you, Chef.
Thank you so much. Well, tell me what it is that you're, what kind of things are you considering to bring to the show?
Well, we have a couple items today, a couple of dishes that we're gonna make. One of them is the yuca and vegetable croquette. Yuca is a root vegetable.
Okay.
And what we do is we boil it and then we mash it. We only do just a little salt and pepper.
Just salt and pepper, so you're keeping the natural flavor of the yuca.
Form a little bowl.
Okay.
And we're gonna fill it up with a little bit of sauteed vegetables. There has some two types of cheese. The vegetables are sauteed with a little salt and pepper.
Okay, I see zucchini, corn. What else do we have in there?
Carrots, beans, peppers.
Okay, so how would you describe the flavor of yuca for people at home?
It's similar to a potato. It would taste a little more starchy than a potato, I'll say.
Can you use this to like thicken soups and things like that?
Oh yeah, for sure. We use it in stews, we use it in soups.
Fantastic.
And it tastes actually really, really good when you actually just boil it. Well, we have it ready, now we're gonna drop it in the deep fryer. We just pull up the croquette right now, and we're gonna put a little salt just to have it.
That yuca does fry up just like a potato would.
Just like a potato
mashed
will.
potato in the oil, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, and we just plate it right on top of this, on top of the lettuce right here. Add a little bit of the lime vinaigrette, and this would be the ricotta cream sauce.
Oh, so how do you make that sauce?
Ricotta is made with the red peppers from Peru, a little bit of mayo, and that will be one of the dishes that we're thinking about for food and wine.
And are those pickled onions that you have right on
Red
top?
pickled onions with a little bit of lime, salt, pepper, and cumin as
That
well.
looks gorgeous. What else are you thinking of bringing to be able to provide to all these wonderful people who are going to be at the show?
The lano de potatoes. So we did one potato dish right now, and we're gonna go ahead and do another one right here that I
Okay.
have a potato causa.
So why is this something that you would consider bringing to Food and Drink Fest?
Very, very traditional in Peru. We can make it with tuna, we can make it with crab, and I was thinking of doing crab instead of the chicken for the Food and Wine Festival, make it more interesting.
Okay.
But yeah, also because it's cold, right? We can
Right.
serve it cold. I want to make it easy for everybody to play this dish.
That's one of those things that so many people don't necessarily realize, that when you're coming to this show, when you're going to Food and Drink Fest, we're talking like 10,000 plus people over the course of the whole weekend. For us as chefs and restaurants and vendors, we have to think about how we can prepare the food to make sure that it tastes good, to make sure that we can execute, to make sure that it's cost effective, and it represents who we are. It is no small task to figure out how these dishes are going to come together for something like Food and Drink Fest.
It is, Jeff, and you know what? Thinking about these dishes, I mean, we want to represent our culture, but at the same time, we wanted to make sure that the people that go in there are not waiting for the dishes, and also get the same quality that they're gonna get at the restaurant when they come over here.
Wow, that's beautiful. So the one thing that is similar with this one and the croquette that you did is that it has the same sauces, which is also very traditional in Peruvian cuisine, right? You've got the very consistent flavor profile that represents the culture.
3 chilies, basically, that's what it makes the Peruvian cuisine.
So
Yellow
nice.
pepper, rocoto, and panca chilies we actually have. And we make different variations of the chilies, different sauces to put in different...
I love it. That's great. So this is 2 of 3 dishes that you're considering. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the third dish is.
We're gonna do the papa a la huancaína now.
Say that again.
Papa a la huancaína.
Papa a la huancaína. That's a sexy dish. I like the way that sounds.
Thank you. It does, doesn't it?
Okay, so show me how this
And this
papa
is-
a la huancaíno comes
And
together.
it's a very simple dish. I mean, it's a potato and cheese sauce.
Yeah.
The cheese sauce is made with queso fresco and yellow peppers.
This is that same yellow pepper that you used before, right? This is
It
the
is.
one that's in there?
It is.
Oh, it's so good. It smells so sweet.
It has like an orangey flavor as well, which is actually really nice. A lot of people use it to make yams and stuff like that. This dish comes from Huancayo, like I say. It's where they grow a lot of potatoes. We're gonna use a couple halves of hard-boiled egg, olives that go in there as well.
What kind of olives are you using for this?
We have Kalamata olives.
Beautiful.
Pitted. And just a little bit of culantro that represents our name as well.
I love it. Now, for most people at home, this is actually cilantro, as it's known sort of around the world, except for in Peru, where it's pronounced culantro.
Culantro.
The namesake of the restaurant. This looks gorgeous.
Thank you, chef. Thank you very much. And that's one of the other dishes that we consider for food and wine as well. So something that it will be easy for us to plate.
This is the best part about getting ready for Food and Drink Fest, is that you have to taste and sample all the different components to decide what it's going to be. This croquette looks amazing. I need some of that lime vinaigrette. Wow, the zest from the lime, and I got a nice chunk of cheese in that. It's really, really good. And here, I'm gonna get right in. Oh, that sauce is delicious. I've got a beautiful flavor just sitting on my palate. And I'm gonna make sure I get some of this culantro right on top. That is really vibrant. You know, for a potato dish,
Yeah.
there's a lot of flavor. Oh, and that spice is starting to come through now. And I'll tell you, for something so simple, I think this one is one that I'm probably the most excited about, because you said just how traditional and authentic this dish is for, you know, a peasant style dish in Peru.
Yes.
I'm gonna get that olive in a second. You're right with that that sweet pepper. The cheese sauce that you brought together with that sweet yellow pepper has a little bit of heat to it, but not much.
Not much at all, yeah?
And the olives with that saltiness and the egg really balances that out extremely well.
Thank you very much.
For all of these incredible flavors, this is just spectacular.
Thank you
Now,
very much. Absolutely.
The best part about this is that I get to taste all of these things now. But you at home going to Food and Drink Fest, in our next show coming up, we'll see what Chef Juan here at Culantro decide to bring to you at the show. My name is Chef Dan. This is Hamilton Eats. Brother, thank you so much.
We're really
man. This
happy
is
to have you,
gorgeous.
sir. Thank
Cheers.
you. Cheers to you, sir. Thank you.
This is going to be my 8th year participating at Food and Drink Fest. So I would be what you call a seasoned veteran. But every year, there's great places and new places that are popping up and wanting to give their best to an incredible show. Today we're going to go in and we're going to meet Matt Beasley, who's going to show us what it is that he's bringing to the show right here at the Aberdeen Tavern. So we're behind the scenes in the heat here with Chef Matt Beasley. Dude,
How are you? Nice to see you.
I am great, and I am so glad to be here right now.
Glad to have you.
What are you going to be making for us today?
So this is our first year with the Hamilton Food and Drink Fest. We haven't participated yet. We're honored that they asked us again. We're really excited to do it. So we're testing out a few dishes that we're going to possibly bring for the weekend. So we have a yellowfin tuna tartare. We have a butternut squash ravioli and a buffalo cauliflower.
Oh, we're very different too. I like it.
Yeah. So I'll get right into the yellowfin tuna tartare. So we have some diced avocado. Toss in a little bit of lemon juice, a little bit of salt.
Okay.
It's all about freshness with this dish. Quick and easy to execute.
See, you've hit on a point right there that for this show is so important. Quick and easy to execute, because you're talking thousands of people over the course of the weekend.
Oh, it's going to be I haven't done one of these in a long time, so it's going to be a treat. We're super excited. We're going to have all hands on deck, and I mean it's going to be such a great event for Hamilton. I've heard nothing but amazing things about it. So
what are you putting on top of the avocado?
we have a yellowfin tuna tartare. So yellowfin tuna, it's been tossed in a yuzu miso vinaigrette, and then we finish it off with some wonton chips.
Right.
Toss in a little bit of salt, some chili powder, and some togarashi 7 spice.
Togarashi 7 spice. Now, I've used this before, but it's not something that you see commonly. So what is it for people at home?
It's a Japanese 7 spice. It's a chili blend.
Okay.
So it's got quite a bit of kick to it. So it's beautiful. It's a little bit smoky, a little bit peppery, quite hot. So we're pretty gentle with it, but it's just to kind of give a different little, different edge to the dish.
That'll blend really well with how fresh and vibrant and sort of clean tasting that the tuna is.
Yeah, exactly. So let's finish it off with a little bit of chopped scallion, some fresh cilantro. Now, we're not going to have the luxury of molding in each one at the Food and Drink Fest, but for restaurant purposes, this is how we prepare the dish here.
Look at that, so much color.
And there we go.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
This is definitely something that I would be looking for coming to that show. But this is just the first.
Just the first,
of the
yeah.
ideas. What's number 2?
So next we have our house-made butternut squash ravioli. So house-made pasta, roasted butternut squash. So first I'm going to drop the pasta into the water over here.
Okay. Now, these are not exactly small ravioli either.
No, we were doing smaller ones initially, and we decided to go a little bit bigger. It's a few less steps.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, when you're banging out 25, 30 of these a night, to go from 6 raviolis to 3, and you still get the same amount of pasta and filling, but just for our guys to be able to execute on a day-to-day basis, it made it a lot easier. So while that's going, I have some butter that's been browned in the pan here. So we have that. So then I have some Brussels sprouts that are blanched and roasted.
Oh, so brown butter on the roasted Brussels sprouts?
Yeah.
Incredible depth of flavor.
So we're gonna add some fresh sage. This is last second, so we don't want to just as the fresh as possible. Some fresh lemon juice.
Now that technique with your sage in there is just, it is textbook flavor and aroma profile by putting your fresh herbs in right at the very end. Lets it sit right on the surface.
Complement the squash so well. Okay, just a quick toss. We're ready to plate, so we're gonna bring it over back over here to the table.
Beautiful. The flavors are screaming to me already.
Oh, brown butter, sage, and lemon are just the happiest of friends. We got a little bit of acid with the lemon juice, but we're really, really savory right now. So what we decided to do was, so you have a house-made onion marmalade. So it's red onions, red wine vinegar, red wine, brown sugar, and some honey. It really cuts through all the richness of this dish. Just sprinkle some of that on there. I'm a fiend for Parmesan, so a Parmesan Reggiano on top, and then just some fresh chives to finish. And that's it. Ready to go. It's everything that we try to do here. It's comfort food. It's with a little bit of a twist, so it's enough that you're not going too far outside your box from the guest perspective, but something where it's like, oh, I've never had that before, and that's what we really kind of shoot here. So this is our third and final dish that we're considering for the event. So it's our version of buffalo cauliflower. So it's kind of a take. It's a vegetarian kind of chicken wing. So blanched cauliflower, super hot fryer.
I love this. Vegetarian chicken wings sounds like everything it shouldn't be.
Exactly.
It really does.
Just let that get nice and golden brown.
You weren't kidding. This is a really hot deep fryer.
We were playing with it when we first started with the dish. We were breading it initially and like panko and beer batter and all that stuff. We found it's been a little bit too goopy, so we decided just to do it just straight cauliflower. We find the sauce, it's a little bit lighter, and realistically, once we put the sauce on, we tend to lose the crisp a bit. The next step, we have the cauliflower. It's browned, ready to go. We're going to toss it in our buffalo sauce.
What's in your buffalo sauce?
So we kind of cheated, so it's Frank's and a lot of butter. It's something a little bit different with a familiar flavor, so the guests aren't going too far out of their element.
They look just like chicken wings.
Yeah, you wouldn't know the difference. We're ready to go. We're gonna bring it over to the plate here. The cast iron skillet. I don't over sauce it because cauliflower is so light. We don't want to mask the total flavor of the cauliflower. Just enough buffalo sauce just to accent it. A traditional chicken wing has crudité and blue cheese dressing.
Right.
So because we're not going to do that, we want to do something a little bit different. We need some acid for the dish. So we decided to do a version of a pickled crudité.
Right.
So it's Brunoise, carrot, and celery.
It's just a simple sweet pickle.
Simple sweet pickle. So the raw vegetables and the hot pickling liquid on top.
Beautiful.
Let it sit. So it still has a bit of texture to it. And this helps really cut and brightens up the dish a lot. We do buttered breadcrumb.
Okay.
So it's a simple baguette, clarified butter, a little bit of salt, toast it until it's golden brown, and then blitz it up in the REUBEN and put it on top. So that adds your texture. So put a little bit of that right on top. So a little bit of chives to finish. What dish of vegetarian chicken wings wouldn't be complete with a little bit of blue cheese dressing?
Oh,
so it's
wow.
a house-made blue cheese dressing.
That looks just beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
This is the time that I look forward to the most, and I'm going to jump right in. And in all honesty, this buffalo cauliflower has been calling my name. So I'm going to get right in here and try to get as much as I can.
It's an interesting mix that we're trying out here. We're playing with these three dishes for the Food and Drink Fest, and I mean the great thing about the cauliflower is that we can do it. We can kind of deconstruct it so it can be vegan, it can be gluten free, it can be, so it covers all the bases.
That's delicious. So there's a perfect amount of spice, and those pickled vegetables, your pickled crudité, just makes that all across the board. Perfect balance from top to bottom. And here, I'm gonna get right in, and if you are half as excited as I am about this parfait, it's gonna be right up your alley.
So this has been a pretty popular. We put this on the menu a few months ago, and I mean it's tuna, it's avocado, it's acidic, it's spicy, it's
perfection, dude. It's perfection. So this is The crispness of the chips. You were right, there is a little bit of heat that comes from the seasoning that you put on there, but that, with how fresh and vibrant the tuna is and the creamy avocado.
Yeah,
there's no way to compare.
I love this combination. I think with this combination, I think seeing something like this at a festival, like like we're gonna have in April, that would be, I would just dive right into it. I would love it
for sure. Now this is a dish that just is all my flavor profile. I love pasta. So that gorgeous filling, pasta's nice and tender. Add. Okay, here we go.
And with this one, so this is the angle. With the thought process on this was, I'm hoping not that we want the weather to be bad, but if it's kind of a cooler weekend, coming in and having something like this, it's like it's warm, it's comforting, it's filling.
You said it right there. This is warm, this is comforting, and the savoriness that you get from that it really is just butter.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a kitchen term for you. What is it? It's butter, and there's no shortage of it in this. But the velvety way that it coats your palate just brings out the different flavors and the different things that you have in this incredible dish. Really beautiful, and I love your onion marmalade. That is, every single one of these dishes has that flair, that touch that brings in the levels that you need to have for a really balanced dish.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So at this point, I've now had a chance to taste all three of the potentials, and I can't wait to see what it is that you decide to bring to the show. Chef Matt,
pleasure.
This is gorgeous.
Thank you.
I'm Chef Dan. This is Hamilton Eats. We have visited 3 incredible places that are getting themselves ready in preparation for Food and Drink Fest this year at the First Ontario Centre, happening April 7th, 8th, and 9th. Now we're going to catch up with them there to see what it is that they bring. For more information, go to foodanddrinkfest.com and get your tickets now.